I was gonna do a sort of giga turbo nuke video, just a huge, massive video. Forgive me for I'm losing my voice. But time's of the essence. That doesn't really matter. That huge video can wait. For now, I just want to get this out, just for it to be in the wild. And the idea for this video is God, I don't even remember what the name of the text document was. Like, how not to be raise a retarded child, or abuse your child or something. But we've got a few eras. I got early game. I don't know if I ever got to mid game, but I'm just gonna kind of rapid fire these off and give some short thoughts, because I don't want to take 2 hours telling you every story associated with it. So we got early game, vaxxed. That's clear as day. I don't need to explain that one. Moving often as a baby, I think that's really, really stressful. Not just for the adults, and that adult, or that stress that the adults feel rubs off on the baby as well, but the actual just being, life is so new and fresh, and everything is brand new. You know what I mean? You go from being in this dark water orb for 9 months to you can see. It's very, very wild when you think about it through the baby's eyes, and everything is new, everything is different, and it's everything's new, and then on top of it you want to make it new again and again and again, over and over, and it's just too much stress for one baby to it's a coffee table you've never seen before in your entire life, and the pattern in the wood, and the carpet and the texture of the carpet, and now all that has to change again. It's just, life is so extreme. Think about it through the baby's eyes. It's extreme for a baby, and to make it even more extreme is just unnecessary stress. But let's keep it moving. Some of these are personal, some of these are just general advice. Left alone at a party as a baby, I don't need to go into why you shouldn't be taking infants to parties. Not being breastfed / social workers showing up and being underweight. You get that. Lived with my grandparents so long, I forgot about my parents for a while. Excess / hyper focus on video games and the computer. For me personally, I know some of you guys might be able to remember this or relate. SpongeBob typing and Lego Island 1 and 2, along with a few other games that I don't remember the name of, that were when I was super young. I'm talking I was on the computer before I could read. My grandma would call my grandpa and be like, he can't read. How does he do this on the computer? And my grandpa would have to walk me through it over the phone. So parents not staying together. Sugary drinks and soda should be avoided. Sorry. Poor oral hygiene / routine. This is really, really important. You should have a good, if you set up that routine and setup early on, it just pays forward throughout your entire life and just makes everything so easy. Also, don't get your don't lose your child's wisdom teeth. Don't do it. We're not bugs, we're not robots. You need your appendages, you need your wisdom teeth, you need your tonsils, you need your foreskin. I don't need to explain all that. If you're born with something, you should fucking keep it. Not a rocket scientist, not rocket science, but not moving far away from family you love to be isolated and alone. I'm not even gonna explain this one. It's just how it sounds. It's not, I'm not a genius or a psychologist. It's just, it makes sense. If you're around, if you have your child has a grandma and grandpa on both sides, or a great grandma and great grandpa, and they're all in the same general area, and if you have the means to do so, and they're like worthless or retarded, by all means move away from them. But if they're like half decent people, and you can find work near-ish to them, it doesn't have to be in the same town, but I'm talking like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, even 5 hours is not, when you think about it, not that bad. It's when you have to start taking a plane to see family is when it, they start to not become family, you know what I mean? They're just people who got on a plane and you see sometimes. Okay, this is like a bit TMI, but weeping during weekend visits, grandparents or dad having to go back to my mom's. Yeah, I remember that. That was fucking brutal. Leaving child home alone often and young. I remember like Wind Waker was my babysitter for like a long time when I was like 4, 5, 6, 7. I got a babysitter when I was like 7, and by then, who fucking cares? But getting married often, not good. I had like 3 stepdads in like 3 years, fucking dumb bitch. Working as a stripper / sex worker, even if you think it's like empowerment or whatever, or you hate your family like my mom did, and you didn't want to see them, if you don't have any other means to make as much money as you would stripping, go live with your parents, go do anything that's not sex work, because you're just gonna rape your mind. And by proxy, like if you interact with your child every day. My mom didn't interact with me at all and just had left me on the GameCube 24/7. I legitimately would have turned out better than the insane, we'll call it wisdom, not wisdom, but you know what I mean, the insane shit she'd talk about every day. Not feeding me, too short to reach the food, sex talk at 5, alluding to being raped. This one's kind of funny because it's just like babysitters, but like babysitters in general, you should, the mother should stay home, or the dad. It does, I'm actually not that much of a misogynist. The dad can be the stay-at-home. I don't give a fuck what you do with your life, but one of them should be home. You should have a if your siblings old, like 10, and can look after your 3-year-old for a bit, and your kid's not retarded, and it's not gonna have something bad happen. But babysitters should basically be reserved for like you and your wife want to go out to dinner, and you pay like the neighbor girl to like watch your kid for like 4 hours or whatever, however long you're out. But long-term babysitters, like sickening. I remember I had 2 long-term babysitters, one when I was like 7, one when I was like 9. I didn't die. I guess that's cool, but I don't think I would have died without him either, because I didn't die when I was, when I spent a lot of time home alone. But both those people were just fucking rotten. It's sad, but both of them were fucking rotten people. No limit on video games due to no one being around. Yeah, I mean that's pretty easy to tell. Like, you need a limit on your video games. Like when I was a kid, like I was on Windows XP when I was like 2 or 3. Okay, maybe 2 is a bit of an exaggeration, but I was like 3 or 4. Probably 3, I think. I think my grandpa told me 3, but I was literally on Windows XP from 3 and like Nintendo 64 and GameCube and Game Boy and PS2 and all that shit. And it's just like, it fucking rots your mind if you overdo it. Especially when I was like 12, like 10, 12, 10, 9, whenever I started playing COD. That just totally fried me. I played all sorts of genres of video games, and then you play that like state-sponsored, government-sponsored military slop, and you're just fucking one shot. But this is a weird one that a lot of people probably can't relate to. Maybe I'll expand on this later, but wrapping birthday and Christmas presents in women's bra ads. I'm talking like 4 or 5. Very strange. I'm not gonna continue on. We can save that for another day. Rated R movies, violent video games. I was watching Saw and Hills Have Eyes and Romeo and Juliet and Titanic and playing GTA 3 and what else? I think God of War. All around like 5 years old, 6 years old, 5 years old. And I watched Devil Wears Prada in movie theaters with my mom, if you want to know how fucking weird my life is. But we'll leave that for another day. I gotta hurry the fuck up, dude. I'm losing my voice. Left with random Groyd family in the hood for weeks. Didn't know any of them. Didn't know where my mom was. I don't know if we got evicted or what, but that's just a tidbit on there. This kind of leads off the other thing I was saying. Forcing my 5-year-old to watch chick flicks with your single mom. Living in an apartment around brown people who steal scooters and hit me too hard with lightsabers and duels. Yeah, they fucking hated me for my skin color. I was not like them. It's a natural thing. It's in group preference. It happens with every race. No other kid was getting hit with lightsabers and leaving bruises like that. I'm just saying. No one else was getting their scooter fucking stolen. This one's bleak. Pet mice. We buried them in the dirt next to the apartment. So keck. Yeah, no, that's fucking disgusting. Punching girls in the face in 1st grade. I don't even know if I want to tell that story just because it's so sad. Haven't hit a chick since, but outside of school, occasional cousin's house, and a few Mexicans who were legit beating my legs purple with lightsabers. Had zero interaction with any children outside of school in this era. Oh, okay. So, yeah, outside of school and occasional going to my cousins and the Mexicans who would beat my legs purple with those lightsabers. I had zero interaction with children outside of school. Yeah, I was always talked to like an adult from day one, square one. I'm not saying you should do the baby voice and like treat your kid like a total fucking retard, but you should have some sort of filter and not just talk to them like they're another dude. Like, I don't know. Like, it's so weird. Like, I would be like 7 years old and like my dad's friends would be like asking me how to spell shit, and they'd just be like talking about like fucking chicks and like drinking beer and shit. It's just like retarded. Okay, so we got dad era here. I think this is the last era I have on here, but we'll try to speedrun this. Again, in an apartment next to poors and browns who smoke pot and chew tobacco at age 12. Yeah, not good influences. Retarded people. Not good. Not even just like the actual apartment. It's like the people you're around in an apartment, but also the apartment itself physically is constraining. Just if you had two twins and you raised one in an apartment with like 12-foot ceilings, and you raised one in an apartment with like 6-7 foot ceilings, like it did everything exactly the same somehow. The one in the 12-foot ceiling apartment would like be like double as smart, 100%. I don't even need to elaborate on that. Again, white trash, scary babysitter, blah blah blah. The trailer park. Being around near trailer park people was very not good. No one noticed I needed glasses until I was like 10 or 11. And I'm not talking like a little bit blind. I'm talking like couldn't read the whiteboard at all. Even in the front row of the class, couldn't read it. And just no one noticed. And this piggybacks off that. Crossing the highway alone often. Okay, later on, but at 8 years old, a bit much for a blind child. Yeah, super weird. I was literally like using my hearing to cross the highway, which is kind of funny. Like a bat. Excess drinking, like partying / questionable junkie tier friends / fights and screaming. Yeah, this is like the shit that changed me the most was just all the partying. And my dad was he was drinking like he was 18 up until I was by the time he stopped, it was too late. It didn't matter. He just had like junkies and weirdos like I remember I would reset like some stolen phones a couple times for these junkies and shit, like on my laptop. Like I'm 10 years old, resetting junkies' stolen phones. Like that's not a good environment to have your kid in. And just like everything smells bad, and all the, they're dirty, and just people are worthless. You know what I mean? I remember it's funny. I'm a better judge of character than any of the adults in my life. My dad and his girlfriend had this friend. They lived kind of an apartment, a couple apartments away, and it was like a dude and his girlfriend, and they were like the most normal friends my dad has ever had. It's kind of sad to think about that because they weren't friends for that long either. And yeah, they like one day they just started accusing his girlfriend of like stealing my dad's girlfriend's ring or something. And I doubt it was even that expensive of a ring, and it wasn't sentimental. I think I remember her saying that it was just like an expensive ring. It wasn't like her grandma's or anything. Or maybe it was, I don't remember. But besides the point, like 3 or 4 years later, like after they blew up on them and like they made a fucking scene about it and made it into a big deal, rather than to just, if they truly did believe it, the adult thing to do would have just been like, oh, okay, whatever, we just won't associate with them anymore. But no, they drew it out. They made it into a big deal and a big drama, and they just made it so sickening. And I really liked these people. Hanging out with them was way, way better than any of my dad's other friends. Like, these people were actually human and not subhuman. But yeah, like 3 or 4 years later, like they ended up moving like a year later, 2 years later, and we ended up finding the ring in the couch or something stupid. And it's like, really, you fucking morons. Like even I knew they didn't fucking steal it, you fucking idiots. But going to sketchy friends' houses and waiting around hours on end, sometimes sleeping at the house party. Oh yeah, like I would go to like house parties with my dad, and we'd sometimes, like, I'd have to be there till like 12 or like 2 a.m. and like sometimes we'd even sleep there, and it was like, really, man, like I'm 10 years old and I gotta sleep at this fucking house party, like seriously. Letting me drink at 10 a few times, parentheses, spawn killed, do not pass go, you are now cemented retarded. Yeah, I mean, if you're giving your kid alcohol when they're 10, you are retarded. You're a fucking moron. Like, my dad always likes to reference my successful-ish friend, and it's like, yeah, okay, his parents were together, and he lived in a fucking $1 million house, and he had 3 meals a day, and his mom made him food, and he didn't have to ration his food. So I don't think him drinking a little bit when his dad made him mow the lawn on a hot summer day and giving him a couple shots probably didn't fuck him up too bad. I mean, he is a raging alcoholic now, but which is kind of funny because, I mean, he made it well into adulthood before he started drinking, and he still just drinks like a fish now. But so I guess it did affect him. But even then, still, when you have other things set up in your life to prepare you and to actually parent and love your child, it doesn't really matter if you're kind of spawn killed and made an alcoholic from a young age. Even then, it doesn't, if he's an alcoholic, it doesn't really matter if he's proficient and successful in other avenues in life. I don't really give a fuck. If I'd had his cards dealt to me, I would. It's not like a me thing. Anyways, smoked weed at 11 a few times with cousins, older friends. Do not let child have low-class friends, poor, sketchy, or considerably older. Yeah, I was like 11 and they were like 14. That should never, ever, ever happen. Unless it's like you can keep a fucking stern eye on it and they can stay at your house. Don't let them go to their house. And if they're trashy, don't let them hang out with them regardless. But if it's like for some reason family friend of a friend or there's all sorts of different things that happen in life. Not every kid's gonna be exact same age as their friends. So if it feels right, and if it's a if it's a good kid and they can stay at your house, sure. But if it's like a sketchy kid and they're staying God knows where and they're around who knows what, like I remember his neighbor, which was like literally like you open the sliding glass door and walk into the neighbor's house. I was like 11 and he was like taking dabs and he was like taking dabs and just not a good environment. I mean, my friend was like 14, but like, his even more white trash friend shows up and we start smoking weed, and it's like, dude, I was 11, This is maybe one of the biggest ones, aside from that's swell. Holy shit, I can feel the vibration on that. Damn. Okay, this is probably the biggest. This is either number one biggest, second biggest, or third biggest. I can't tell where I'd rank them, but I would probably put have partying like you're fucking 18 your kid's entire life, and partying around junkies and shit. I would probably put this above this one, but really they're all equal. Same with the having a sex worker mom. They're all three about equal. But unrestricted internet access. Okay, I just give some details on here. Unrestricted internet access started earlier, but a considerable problem around 9 to 10. I don't need to go into the details right now. Maybe I'll make a video in the future on that, but you guys know why you shouldn't be on the internet like that, unrestricted. It's just fucking rots your mind. Like, yeah, Minecraft is cool and shit, but like, if you want your kid to play there's other ways you can have your kid play Minecraft and not have to be on the internet, you know what the fuck I mean? Like, they don't need to play factions. Like, yes, was playing like Minecraft factions cool? Did it help me in any meaningful way? Not really. But this one's a fun lore on my dad. So he had no license for like 10 years because he had like 3 DUIs, and we'd only go food shopping like once a month, twice a month, and just because like he would tell me some bullshit like, oh, the cabs are too expensive. So this kind of became an issue, especially with milk and like lunch meat and shit. I would have to like ration out my food, and I didn't really know how to cook. My mom didn't teach me any of that or anything, and it's like basically cereal and like lunch meat and bagels, and it's like once I ran out of that, it was like, I didn't, when I'm like 8 years old, am I gonna fucking cook up Hamburger Helper? No, like I can't even reach the dial to turn the fucking stove on. Maybe I could, I don't remember, but mentally as a child, thinking about that is so sad. Like having to ration your food or having to worry about food in general in today's world is just, it's not good. I mean, it started when how much of it was me just like not knowing how to cook, and how much of it was me also having eating issues from when my mom didn't feed me when I was a very, it started basically starting from birth. I was underweight from birth, and never got up to a decent weight until I was, really 12, I'd say. But anyways, oh yeah, and this is in parentheses, money for weed and beer remained in abundance. Yeah, he couldn't afford cab fare, but he could afford an 18 rack of beer every night. The nights he wouldn't be partying with his junkie loser fucking freak friends, he still made sure he got drunk. He was having a 12-pack and 18-pack a night. There was time to smoke weed. And I remember one time I had like $300 saved from my birthday and like Christmas, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to buy. I waited like a few months, and my dad knew I had that money, so he would blow his entire paycheck in a poker machine or whatever, or buy like something he didn't need, like an expensive gun or something, and he would have literally zero money, and he'd be like, hey, do you still have that $300? And he's like drunk as a skunk. It's like fucking 5 p.m. Like, you got off work and you just went and got shit-faced and lost your entire check in the poker machine. Like, are you kidding? You need $300? Like, are you fucking kidding? But anyways, I would like, I think, I don't know how much is free will and how much my later choices mattered on, because that, we're talking like, this is about up to, I don't know, 12 or 13, this list. I'd like to go through and talk about my teenage years at some point, but I don't have the time for that right now. I just need to get this video out. I hope it can help someone, and this can be insightful, and you don't oofy doofy retard max your own kids, and they don't have to end up suffering like I did. But hopefully this has been good for somebody. But see you later.